Tonight, the aftermath of a devastating crash. 5 children killed on a rural road north of Kitchener.
Several members of the public were on scene to try to provide assistance until first responders arrived on scene.
What investigators are learning so far about the circumstances. Heartbreak and help.
Hard to imagine, hard to process.
A community stepping up for a family torn apart by loss and uncertainty. A crash in North Dumfries turns fatal.
The collision involved a vehicle and a lawn tractor.
A man riding a mower dead after an incident this morning. Flowers and stuffed animals along the side of a rural road. This is the scene of an unthinkable tragedy that happened on Friday night north of Kitchener, where 5 children were killed in a collision, leaving a family trying to navigate, in their words, an unimaginable reality. Good evening. We begin with the latest details tonight on that collision that took 5 young lives and left a large family and a wider community grappling with grief. First, what we know about the collision itself, which happened Friday evening in Mapleton Township. Let's go to CTV's Krista Simpson live in studio now to take us through the very latest. Krista.
Well, Tony, the crash happened Friday evening around 7:30. Nearly 72 hours later, there are still many questions about just what happened. Provincial police saying the investigation will likely take some time. The crash happened at this intersection, 4th Line and Wellington Road 12 in Mapleton Township, involving a passenger van with 10 family members inside and an SUV with 1 occupant. The impact of the collision sending both vehicles flying into the ditch, say provincial police.
Unfortunately, 5 children died that night.
4 sisters and their brother, all between the ages of 4 and 12. 4 adults in the passenger van, including the children's parents and grandmother, and a 15-month-old baby were rushed to hospital with injuries considered serious, though police did not have an update on their conditions Monday. The driver of the SUV was also taken to hospital. The intersection was closed for most of Saturday before it reopened. Monday, a few flowers and stuffed toys were placed in the crater left behind. OPP say that a number of bystanders leaped in to help in the aftermath of the crash.
Several members of the public were on scene to try to provide assistance until first responders arrived on scene. We want to thank the public for their assistance. We're also asking the public that you were there and you did see something to please give us a call.
Numerous first responders also at the intersection Friday evening.
We responded with the other agencies, OPP, paramedics, and Wellesley Township Fire.
About 7 volunteer firefighters from Mapleton Township alone there to help. The fire chief saying they'll be supporting those first responders as they think of the family in this crash.
Our people want to make sure that the family involved is being taken care of, and that everybody is focused on them. And what we do will come afterwards, and we'll take care of our people.
Provincial police are still looking into what caused this crash, but they warn the investigation will likely take some time. The severity of the adult's injuries, one factor.
We're going to give them some time and space to recover, and then we're going to revisit that to be able to speak to them. What did they see to help us in this investigation?
The crash happened just days before provincial police launched a safety campaign focused on rural intersections called Stop, Look and Live.
To ensure that people take their time approaching an intersection, make sure that you're safe, you look both ways, look again, because it could save a life.
OPP do want to hear from any witnesses they haven't talked to yet, and they're asking anyone with information about this crash to come forward. Tony.
Okay, Krista, thank you. CTV's Krista Simpson live in studio with the latest on the investigation tonight. The crash, needless to say, has left many devastated. We are hearing tonight from the local Mennonite community, civic leaders, and others, offering an outpouring of support for the large family left dealing with this loss and with the ongoing recoveries of those who were injured. CTV's Jeff Pickle joining us now more with this part of the story. Jeff, how is the community dealing with this tragedy?
Well, Tony, often the only silver lining in a situation like this is to see the immense amount of love and support from the community and far beyond. A GoFundMe started just last night has already raised over $150,000, an indication that this tragedy has touched so many. A small memorial for an unimaginable loss. 5 young lives lost at this rural intersection. For many in this area, like mayor of nearby Woolwich Township, it's hard to find the words.
It's just a heart-wrenching situation, and yeah, hard to imagine, hard to process.
Mayor Shant's one of several elected officials like Ontario Premier Doug Ford and Prime Minister Mark Carney to offer their sympathies and condolences.
When you lose 5 young children in an unnecessary vehicle accident, it's hard for the community, it's hard for individuals.
A GoFundMe said to be organized by one of the family's elder daughters not injured in the crash had raised more than $150,000 by early Monday evening, less than 24 hours after it was posted.
So the Mennonite community is very diverse in our theology, in our practice, in our expressions of faith, and yet there are many commonalities that hold us together, that our value of community and belonging, barn-raising kind of culture, that we respond in the midst of tragedy.
Kara Carter is a Mennonite pastor not associated with the family in the crash. Carter says the large Mennonite community is one that supports each other.
We are known as a community that gathers around those who are suffering, and we bear that suffering together for sure.
Carter says in these rural communities, road safety is a common concern.
I travel back and forth to Elmira regularly, and traffic is heavy, and traffic is fast and not always safe.
A message echoed by Mayor Shantz.
Really encourage people to slow down, pay attention. People live there, kids play there.
And we have reached out to the organizers of the GoFundMe, but have not heard back yet. Clearly, though, Tony, a large community shaken by this tragedy.
Indeed, Jeff, thank you for that. CTV's Jeff Pickle reporting live. All right, time now to switch gears and take a look at the weather as we head over to Alexandra Hollick in the studio now with all of the latest. Noticeably cooler today. I kind of like this. It feels fresher out there today.
I absolutely agree with you, Tony. Like I said last week, I think my favorite temperature is 22 degrees, and this is perfect, especially for sleeping at night, turning off the AC and opening up that window. A lot better than the muggy temperatures that we've been seeing.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, let's see what's in store for the next little while.
For sure, Tony. So today we saw some partly cloudy skies, and that has now passed through. So we're going to see some clearing overnight, and with that, the winds that we saw as well, a little light breeze is also expected to die down as we head into the overnight hours tonight. Right now, we're sitting at 19 degrees here in Waterloo region, and like I said, those westerly winds coming in at 22 kilometers an hour, a little bit gustier though, so if you're out and about this evening, maybe for a nice little walk, take a little sweater, a light jacket. That won't do any harm to you, and it will keep you a little bit warm as the temperatures dip overnight tonight. Like I said, tonight, right now we're sitting at 19 degrees here in Waterloo region, 19 in Toronto, 22 in Windsor, so definitely in those late teens, low 20s. Not usually what we're used to seeing this time of year, but I'll have more details on when you need to pack up the umbrella coming up, Tony.
Okay, we'll talk about the rest of the week shortly. Alexandra, thank you. A repeat high-risk offender in Guelph who's considered a danger to women pled guilty today to another probation violation. Medhani Johans was released from police custody back in February and was rearrested only hours later at a place he'd been told to stay away from. He now remains behind bars with 70 days left in his sentence. Once released, Johans will no longer be allowed in Guelph's downtown core and will report to his probation officer via telephone to ensure he's not in violation of his geographical restrictions. A 51-year-old man is dead after being struck by a vehicle while driving his riding mower this morning in North Dumfries. It's the second serious collision along a stretch of Clyde Road in the last year. CTV's Karis Mapp has more.
A section of Clyde Road in North Dumfries was closed for much of Monday following a serious crash.
Earlier today at approximately 10:10 a.m., police responded to reports of a serious collision on Clyde Road. The collision involved a vehicle and a lawn tractor.
The crash happened at Clydebank Drive just east of the Cambridge Golf Club. Waterloo Regional Police initially said the man had life-threatening injuries, but gave an update later in the day.
The driver of the lawn tractor, a 51-year-old male, was pronounced deceased at the scene. The driver of the vehicle, a 16-year-old Cambridge female, reported no physical injuries.
The roadway remained closed for several hours.
The investigation is ongoing by our traffic services unit, and they're still looking for anyone who witnessed the collision or has dash cam footage of the collision to please contact them directly.
North Dumfries Mayor Sue Foxton provided CTV News with a statement about the crash that reads, "Council, staff, and myself are concerned for all involved. We cannot make judgments at this time until there is sufficient information. We cannot say what were the factors involved until there is a complete investigation, but we are saddened by the passing of the one individual and will keep their family in our hearts and prayers." This collision marks the second major crash along Clyde Road in the last 8 months. In October 2025, 4 teens were taken to hospital after a 15-year-old lost control of the vehicle she was driving and hit a hydro pole. The girl was later charged with speeding and stunt driving. But police say their investigation into today's crash is still in the early stages.
The investigation ongoing, and investigators will determine the cause of the accident, and they will also look into determine if speed was a factor in this collision.
Clyde Road reopened around 5 o'clock Monday evening. Karis Mapp, CTV News, North Dumfries.
London police have laid charges now in a crash that left 7 women injured last week. A 59-year-old woman's been charged with 6 counts of criminal negligence causing bodily harm after a car crashed through the wall of a gym as people were working out inside. Police say one of the women who was hurt remains in critical condition. That police investigation is still underway. A 12-year-old boy is in custody tonight, facing charges including attempted murder after a Toronto police officer was hit by a car. Police say the boy was driving that vehicle, one they ended up firing shots into. It happened after police responded to reports of a stolen vehicle. CTV's Beth McDonnell has details.
With sirens and lights blaring on the Leaside Bridge, a Toronto police officer sits on the ground up against the guardrail. This is the scene after the Special Investigations Unit says a chain of events unfolded involving an officer firing at a stolen vehicle driven by a 12-year-old boy. His passengers, another 12-year-old and 13-year-old.
I think I heard 3 all after each other, like boom, 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 in the sequence like that. And then I heard and saw the car speed off this way.
The SIU says the chaos began with a call to police about a car stolen from a nearby subway station on Danforth. Officers used 2 cruisers to box the car on the bridge. When the 12-year-old driving tried to get away, an officer was hit by the car.
And in the course of that, there were multiple shots fired at the vehicle by that officer. The driver then fled this scene and abandoned the vehicle a short distance away from here.
Here is the vehicle, the doors flung open, sitting about a kilometer away at Floyd and Donlands Avenues. One resident in the area tells CTV News she heard what sounded like young people running, saying something to the effect of, "We got to get away from the cops." The FSIU says the driver was caught a few blocks away from the car.
Saw guys with, looked like they had assault rifles, police, and with flashlights, looking in everybody's backyard. They shined the flashlight to my face as I was staring out the back window, and yeah, it was just a bizarre circumstance.
This is the 3rd serious incident causing a police officer in Ontario to either be injured or killed on the job within the past week. Last Tuesday, OPP Constable Taryn Bali was struck and killed by an accused 18-year-old driver in Northern Ontario. Then on Thursday, Toronto Police Constable Mark Pinizzato was executing a search warrant when he was shot and killed. The accused, 19 years old. The officer hit in this case went to hospital with serious injuries but has since been released.
The violence against police officers need to stop. And we were lucky we don't have another dead police officer here today.
The SIU says the stolen vehicle was struck by gunfire. It says the other 12-year-old in the car was also caught. The 13-year-old is still out there.
That report from CTV's Beth McDonnell in Toronto. Well, the latest now on the OPSEU strike. About 4,000 community service workers remain on the picket lines, forcing schools and therapy centers to shut their doors. That's left families of kids with autism scrambling to make other arrangements. CTV's Siobhan Morris has details.
They told Owen.
Owen has been writing a lot of letters the last 3 weeks, pleading with his brother to go home.
Pretty depressed about the whole thing. And we've tried to explain it, but we can't.
Trying to explain that his group home for adults with developmental disabilities is closed. The community service workers who staff it are on strike, leaving Owen and his peers unmoored.
Because he's connected to his room, his records, he's connected to his friends, his routines, like a Friday dance.
About 4,000 workers represented by OPSEU are on picket lines across Ontario, pushing for more funding and a wage catch-up after Bill 124, which limited pay increases. It was ultimately deemed unconstitutional. Parents of kids with autism are struggling to make alternative arrangements.
He told me, he cried. He said, I want to go back to school. I don't like stay home.
The work stoppage is affecting 22 workplaces, including schools and therapy centers.
These are the kids that everybody forgets about in their budget.
There is an option for some online learning, but it's not enough.
It's the emotional support, it's the social piece. You can't really just kind of hire a babysitter for kids like ours when unexpected things happen.
It's like a rug was pulled under our feet.
Annie Fayez says her 14-year-old son Zane has made incredible progress over the last year with fewer outbursts. Progress she fears is slipping away.
He's also very anxious, so I might have to ask my doctors, his pediatrician, to increase his anxiety medicine. He's not doing great, and I'm really very worried about regression.
All the family members affected by strikes say what they want is for the union and employers to really talk. Susan Cosgrove acknowledges there is a lot of passion in both camps.
Both sides really feel like they're fighting for what is best for our kids, but the people who are losing out are the kids.
Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Symbols of pride targeted at schools in Perth County. Just ahead, 4 high schools face an act of disappointment in a month that's meant to be inclusive.
Well, after a wet end to the weekend and a cool start to the week, more rain is on the way. I'll have those details coming up in your full forecast.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVKitchener.ca, your home for news. When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Four Perth County schools are dealing with vandalism that targeted pride flags outside their schools. As CTV's Scott Miller reports, pride organizations are disappointed but not surprised by this.
3 tiny pride flags flutter in the wind at the base of a flagpole outside Elma Township Public School near Atwood. The tiny flags are a temporary replacement for a flagpole holding a large pride flag and Canadian flag that was cut down by vandals sometime over the weekend.
That was placed by a kindergartner who was just devastated that she saw that the flagpole was cut down. And so for her to take it upon herself to put those little flags up speaks mountains of support throughout our community.
In all, 4 flagpoles displaying pride and Canadian flags at 4 Perth County elementary schools were chopped down by vandals over the weekend. Local pride organizations are upset by the vandalism, but sadly say they're getting used to it.
It was definitely unfortunate. It's not surprising in some ways, considering the events that we've heard about in Norwich and Markham and other places. You know, it's something that you don't want to see in your community, but when it comes to being visible and transparent about pride, you do sometimes expect some backlash, unfortunately.
And the Avon-Maitland District School Board, who just this year got pride flags displayed at all 39 of their schools, the weekend vandalism is being described as targeted and hateful.
Well, what's frustrating and disappointing is racism and hate is expensive. So instead of allocating resources to students, I now have to replace 4 flagpoles that also carry the Canadian flag, which to me is also is a disaster when you think about you have that much hate where you're willing to sacrifice your own country.
In nearby North Perth, where they've been flying the pride flag proudly for many years, there is condemnation of this hateful act.
This is not who we are as a people. And there may be individuals who have some kind of political or religious agenda that they're prosecuting. And you know, there are better ways of doing it than what they've done.
Police say they have 2 suspects caught on school surveillance cameras riding an ATV and carrying a saw outside the schools over the weekend. The school board says it may take some time, but the flagpoles, along with the pride flags and Canadian flag, will go back up outside the 4 schools as soon as possible.
Although this has happened to us, we are assured that we will be putting the flagpoles back up and will not be deterred from any vandalism.
As much as people say it's just a flag, it's just a parade, they're just making a fuss over nothing, it really is integral to community and inclusion.
In Perth County, Scott Miller, CTV News.
For years, families dealing with dementia have complained about the disjointed nature of services in Ontario. Now a new task force is working towards streamlining the system. CTV's Pauline Chan reports.
For the past decade, Bruce Wood has been dealing with early onset dementia alongside his wife, former MP Lisa Raitt.
I knew the Ontario government well. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where to turn. And it's that kind of gap in the system.
That's why she says the Ontario Dementia Task Force is so important for the 400,000 families dealing with this devastating condition.
I want to make sure that when we talk about dementia as a whole, that it's all of the points on that timeline, not just the beginning diagnosis or the end of life care.
Ontario spends $30 billion annually on dementia care. So it cannot be just a lack of funding here. We think the root cause has to do more with a lack of coordination and a lack of system pathways that do exist for other major conditions like stroke, palliative care, cancer.
The task force includes families, health services, policymakers, and more.
It's aiming to produce a series of recommendations over the next 12 to 18 months. And it would be in support of Bill 121, which is the dementia care bill.
The last thing a family needs is a list with 12 separate phone numbers on it for you to call to get 12 separate things that you need.
Saskia Sivananthan says with the advent of new drugs for use in early dementia, streamlining access to diagnosis and treatments is growing even more urgent. Raitt talks of a recent moment when she spilled something while feeding her husband.
And he just kind of gave me this look like, "You're a moron, Lisa." And then we both laughed. It was a moment of shared recognition of a small thing that happened. And, you know, in that moment, I forget he has Alzheimer's.
She says there are still moments of joy for her and Bruce, and every family deserves to enjoy those moments without the burden of struggling with a fractured system. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
A live look outside now at the Grand River by the Park Hill Dam in Cambridge. The end of a pretty beautiful Monday, a much cooler Monday after that fresher, cooler air mass moved in over the weekend after all of that rain we got on Sunday. So what's the rest of the week looking like? We've got Alexandra Hollick standing by to give us our extended forecast in just a few minutes. Also coming up, we will head to London to meet one of Canada's oldest surviving Second World War veterans who was recently honored by Wilfrid Laurier University. But next, a reality check on the opioid crisis. New federal data that may sound encouraging, but comes with some fine print. Okay, Alexander Hollick's back with us on weather duties once again tonight, coming off I'm going to say like a 50-50 weekend because we had a gorgeous afternoon and evening on Saturday, and then as predicted, Sunday morning, in comes the rain.
Exactly, Tony. You know, you give some, you take some, and that's just what we have to deal with.
Balance, isn't it?
Exactly, and we're getting closer and closer every day to the official start on summer, which happens to land on the same day as Father's Day, and it's supposed to be beautiful, so fingers crossed that continues into the rest of this week.
We got a bit of a bumpy road to get through this week, though.
A little bit. You might want to keep that umbrella handy all week. Keep the rain boots nearby, a rain jacket, because we are definitely not going to be seeing that sun and that humidity that we were seeing a couple weeks back.
All right. Let's get into it.
Let's get right into it here. But starting off with a live shot of Cambridge here, and you can see just how that wind is blowing across. The wind gusts are closer to 40, so it is a little bit breezier out there this evening. But you know what? It's a great day for a walk. Beat the rain that's going to be coming in tomorrow and the rest of this week. It's beautiful out there right now, so let's try to take advantage of that while we still have it. Taking a look at what we can expect, though, later on today, we saw some partly cloudy skies pass through, but now those skies are clearing out as we get into the overnight hours. But take a look at around Tuesday at 2 o'clock, that early afternoon hour where we could start to see some showers coming in. And with those showers, there will be a risk of thunderstorm activity potentially. And as you can see, around 1 o'clock Wednesday morning, that rain is really starting to come in as well. And that will continue into the morning hours on Wednesday too, and by lunchtime it should clear out just a little bit, but you might want to keep that umbrella handy with you all day Wednesday, and especially as you get started for your workday. Taking a look across the country here, we're at 26 degrees in Vancouver and cloudy skies. That mid-20s trend continues on the other side of the Rockies as well. 26 in Edmonton, 25 in Calgary. As we move east into the prairies, Saskatoon and Regina, sitting in that low 20s range with some partly cloudy skies. Rainy in Winnipeg and 17 degrees there. Taking a look at our nation's capital, 19 degrees and cloudy in Ottawa, 20 in Sudbury, 19 in Montreal, and 21 in Quebec City. And out east in the Atlantic area, we have 16 degrees in Corner Brook, 9 and partly cloudy skies in St. John's, and rainy and 17 in Fredericton. A little bit closer to home here in southwestern Ontario, 19 degrees in Kitchener-Waterloo right now. Definitely cooler than what we're used to seeing this time of year and what we've been seeing so far the last few days. 19 degrees in Toronto, 22 in Windsor, and 21 in Sarnia. So definitely a little bit more on the cooler side as we head into the evening. Overnight tonight, dropping to a low of 10 degrees with some westerly winds or southwesterly winds coming in at 20 kilometers an hour, but they are expected to die down as we head into the overnight hours. Tomorrow, our expected high is 22 degrees, and we are going to have a pretty high UV index around 7. But as we roll into the afternoon, that chance of showers and risk of thunderstorms is definitely going to be imminent. So definitely want to keep an eye on that there. Definitely today, looking at cooler temperatures than we're used to here. Normally, we're sitting at 24 degrees this time of year, nowhere near any record highs, though. 32.2 degrees was set as the last record high. Taking a look at our 7-day forecast here, that risk of thunderstorms Tuesday and Wednesday, rain into the rest of the week. But taking a look at Sunday, that first day of summer and Father's Day, sunny is expected. And the expected high is only supposed to be 20 degrees, so we'll see if that changes as we make our way through the week here. In Lambton, Kent, and Essex, again, that risk of thunderstorm and rain. Temperatures expected to be around the mid-20s, dropping to the mid-teens overnight. Make sure to keep that umbrella handy if you're in that area. And in the southern Georgian Bay area, that thunderstorm risk continues Tuesday and Wednesday with showers coming in on Thursday, but sunny and 18 degrees for Father's Day and the first day of summer. So a great day to take out the barbecue, Tony.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And let's take a look at today's Weather Watcher picture sent in by Sandra from the South Bruce Peninsula area. Now, this beautiful orchid is called the showy lady's slipper. It's a rare plant that's actually native to North America. And you know, Tony, maybe we complain about the rain sometimes, but without it, we wouldn't have this stunning natural orchid.
You make a really good point. I mean, orchids are so delicate. It's very, very nice to see them when they are in full bloom like that. What a gorgeous photo.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sandra, for sending that in. It's a great photo, and I'm so glad we got to feature it tonight. That's beautiful.
And I'm glad you mentioned the record high, which I noticed was in 1994. And I thought, I would have been delivering newspapers around that time, and 32, 34 degrees, that's hot work when you're outside doing something like that.
Oh, absolutely. You're going to want to have your water on hand, be sun safe, wear your sunscreen. So I have to say, we'd be thankful for these cooler temperatures.
I was just going to say, a little week like this to regulate things, much appreciated. Okay, thanks, Alexandra.
Thanks, Tony.
Well, new data released today is reporting a decline in opioid-related deaths last year. That's good news, but the crisis is far from over. CTV's Abigail Beeman on why progress in the public drug dilemma remains fragile.
I've accidentally died.
Angie knows how terrifying a drug overdose is.
I had a little puff, and I immediately fell forward and passed out, stopped breathing, and went completely blue.
The Public Health Agency of Canada released new numbers showing opioid deaths dropped by 23% last year, with hospitalizations down 12%. But there were still more than 5,600 deaths in 2025, a staggering 15 people every day.
It is fragile. We've seen a decrease for 2 years in a row, but that follows many years of increases, and the number of overdose deaths are still higher than they were before the COVID pandemic.
Officials say one of the reasons for the drop is more access to naloxone.
There is no silver bullet to solve this crisis.
But death from benzodiazepines, benzos, are 3 times higher than before the pandemic, and naloxone doesn't work there. While some think closing safe injection sites like this one in Ottawa will make things worse.
It's going to be a lot worse than what it is now.
It's a darn shame, and there's going to be a lot more ambulances running around.
Then there's the tie to the trade war, with the American president using fentanyl as a tariff justification. It turns out the Canada Border Services Agency seized less fentanyl in 2025 than the year before, when we didn't have a fentanyl czar.
It's a slight decrease. From my perspective, the drug trade in this country is largely domestic production and for domestic consumption.
Kevin Brosseau went to Washington today to bring this latest data and sell the message that Canada's measures are working. He says in general, his conversations with Americans are well received. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
A deal that is supposed to mean less labor turbulence at a major airline. Just ahead, a tentative agreement covering thousands of Air Canada workers. A tentative deal's been reached between Air Canada and roughly 11,000 of its unionized workers. The airline says the new collective agreement recognizes the contributions and the skills of its employees in maintenance, cabin services, airport operations, cargo, finance, and clerical work. The International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers says the deal is historic, with landmark wage increases for its members. Terms of the deal will not be released until a ratification vote and approval from Air Canada's board. And a new survey from the Canadian Federation of Independent Business finds a majority of small businesses feel they're not getting enough support from Ottawa. 73% of respondents say the spring economic update did little to change their situation. 58% say they continue to feel pressure from rising fuel costs. Roughly 40% say economic uncertainty and other operating costs are making it difficult to do business. More than 50% of respondents say they would not recommend starting a business right now. U.S. President Donald Trump says the details of the tentative ceasefire arrangement with Iran will be released soon. But there are outstanding issues that need to be resolved before Friday's expected signing of that deal. At the G7 summit in France, world leaders, including Mark Carney, welcomed the news. CTV's Mike LeCouture has the latest.
Everything is very nice, thank you.
As he celebrated brokering the deal, U.S. President Donald Trump gave a timeline for the full opening of the Strait of Hormuz.
They're doing a little hunting for a couple of mines that they've already found, but it's essentially ships are starting to go out now. On Friday, it'll be completely opened.
Nearly 1/5 of all shipped oil passes through that waterway, and Trump boasted it should be flowing again soon. The UK and France are making a push for a multinational naval mission to keep the strait open. Prime Minister Mark Carney has said Canada could contribute to securing the strait, but wasn't specific.
We'll have an opportunity starting from tonight at the G7 in Evian to see what we and other countries can do to help reinforce this important progress that's been made.
For the G7 leaders, the priority is also to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon.
First, it will fix the nuclear issue, and it's a very important matter for peace for the whole world.
Carney also underscored the importance of making global commodity systems more resilient to wars so consumers aren't affected by these types of conflicts.
I spoke to President Macron about a few options on Friday, and under his leadership and President Trump's and others will look to make progress there.
Trade will also be on the agenda at the G7, with the French president underlining the importance of working together. Tariffs do no one any good, especially between G7 countries, Macron said. Canada has that same message for the U.S., but Carney isn't planning to bring it up with Trump. He told reporters those discussions will be held on the sidelines of this summit between the Minister of Canada-U.S. Trade, Dominic LeBlanc, and U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer. Mike Lecouture, CTV News, Evian, France.
And one day after it was announced, the question remains, can the framework for that deal hold? Israel is not part of the deal, but the priority now is implementation, which is essential for the global economy. CTV's Adrian Gobriel looking into all of the moving parts and how they affect Canadians.
Months of pain at the pumps has left many fuming, hoping for a break. The peace deal between the United States and Iran has yet to be signed, the details yet to be released, though global oil prices are responding. The international standard for the price of oil, Brent crude, fell nearly 5% to just over $83 US this morning. That's still a way off from $70 a barrel, the approximate cost of Brent crude in the weeks leading up to the war in Iran.
The new normal, so to speak, for the oil market, is much, much different than what is 3 or 4 months ago. We think that $80 is going to serve as the approximate floor.
While the price for consumers fluctuates from province to province, the national average at the pumps today in Canada is roughly $1.65 per litre. A year ago today, it was hovering at $1.35 per litre. And it could be months before Canadians catch a meaningful break.
We're going to be stuck for the next year, maybe even 2 years, with unusually high prices. Don't look for $1.30 at the pumps anytime soon, even with the federal government giving off a 10-cent excise tax break. We'll be lucky we can stay in the $1.50 range for the remainder of 2026.
Depleted oil reserves need to be replenished. That takes time. There's multiple other variables still at play. Iran's foreign ministry today saying they plan to charge a service fee to vessels using the Strait of Hormuz. The price tag remains unclear. And while ships are expected to begin leaving the strait in the days ahead, what's needed most is for more to arrive.
Until ships are willing to enter in and unload onshore storage, we will continue to lose 11-ish million barrels per day of production every single day.
As long as prices remain elevated here at the pumps, so will the overall cost of living for Canadians, from the price at the grocery store, interest rates, to inflation. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Letters from younger versions of themselves. Just ahead, a unique Southwestern Ontario school project that's proving to be a full circle moment. Some elementary school students had a chance to reconnect with their younger selves thanks to a project years in the making. CTV's Lauren Stallone has more on the letters they wrote to themselves and their reaction.
Shall I say back in grade 1, so I scribed it for you.
After years of waiting, grade 8 students at Stony Creek Public School finally get to hear from someone extra special. Their past selves.
Thought, why not have them right now write a letter to themselves? And 8 years go by, and here we are today with them getting their letters back.
Their former teacher, Chris Harris, says he hoped the letters would give students an opportunity to see how much they've grown.
It gives me actually goosebumps. It's just hearing them talk and share stories of little things they did or their memories of the past and how they were such nice people back then, and they still still are.
Students say they are grateful Eris held on to their letters for so many years.
I think it's a pretty great opportunity.
I think that's kind of crazy because, like, I'd never thought I'd actually get this back. So it's like, what do you know? Like, it's kind of cool.
Eager to see what was inside, students spent the afternoon catching up with their younger selves and reminiscing about the past.
I wanted to be better at English because when I was in grade 1, I was like new to Canada and I didn't know English much.
Some were relieved to know not much has changed.
I still like the same movies and stuff. Yeah. Shrek and the Grinch.
And for others, some questions have yet to be answered.
I also said I'm gonna have 6 girlfriends in high school.
And is that true?
Yeah.
You think that's gonna happen?
Definitely.
As for what the future holds, some students have their minds made up.
I'm probably gonna go to the military to serve my country for a couple years and then retire.
I hope to be like a judge or a lawyer.
While others are making their financial advisors proud.
I want to get like a career that I enjoy, but one that I can get money with. Be an electrician or something, because they make pretty good money.
Something that gives me a lot of money.
Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
It will surprise none of you that if I had written a letter to myself at the age they're talking about, I would have wanted to be right here where I am today. Okay, over to Alexandra Hollick now with a look at our forecast.
Temperatures are cooling down tonight and the sky is clearing out, but what's in store for tomorrow? I'll have those details with your full wake-up weather next. Start your night off with Eat Talk at 7, followed by The Big Bang Theory and Sullivan's Crossing at 8. Cap your night off with American Ninja Warrior starting at 9.
Tonight, a sinister twist on a phone scam.
I thought I was talking to him because it was his voice.
The technology criminals are using to clone voices and tips to protect yourself. Later on CTV National News and watch on Crave.
KW's Bounce 99.5 has the music you just can't quit. Listen all summer for your chance to win. Turn the lights off, carry me home. With Bounce to your backyard.
All right, so as we look at wake-up weather, a little bit of a surprise today because we'd been getting used to that warm trend last week. Even jumped in a swimming pool over the weekend for the first time this season, I'm going to say, not summer. It's not summer yet. So, yeah, when do we get back to swimming weather?
Well, hopefully on the first official day of summer, but even then, Tony, it's not looking like it's going to be too hot of a first day of summer or Father's Day for that matter, because they land on the same day.
They do.
I think it will be a great day for the grill on Sunday, but we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
We gotta get through this week.
Exactly. Taking a look at what we can expect to see tomorrow at 6 a.m. It's going to be sunny, feeling a little bit closer to 11 degrees, so a little bit cooler than we're used to. But by 8 o'clock, those clouds are going to start rolling in, and by 10 o'clock in the morning, 18 degrees and already a risk of thunderstorms. So it might be a good idea to pack an umbrella if you're heading out to work tomorrow.
Getting closer to the, is it the spring solstice or the summer solstice?
Summer solstice.
It's the summer solstice
yes.
that happens.
Yes, so the days are getting longer all the way up until Sunday. It's going to be the longest day of the year. And then after that, the days slowly start getting shorter.
Okay, so still lots to look forward to.
Exactly.
As we head through these seasons. Well, finally for us tonight, we're going to bring you a story about one of Canada's last surviving Second World War veterans. He's adding another honor to an already remarkable legacy.
That's right. 102-year-old Sir George Beardshaw, who lives in London, received an honorary Doctor of Laws degree from Wilfrid Laurier University, recognizing a lifetime of service. And CTV's Rita Ismail reports.
George Herbert Beardshaw, by virtue of the authority vested in me as Chancellor, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa. Congratulations.
At 102 years old, Sir George Beardshaw is still collecting accolades and still keeping his sense of humor.
Quit giving me awards. Yeah. Quit giving me, you gotta stop.
The Second World War veteran received an honorary Doctor of Laws degree from Wilfrid Laurier University on June 9th.
I'm so honored, you know, to receive something like this. When I think of all the other boys that were in the Army, and I think they all deserve awards like this.
Beardshaw served with the Queen's Own Rifles during the war and spent the final weeks of the conflict as a prisoner of war after being captured in the Netherlands. But his remarkable story began long before his military service. At just 14 years old, Beardshaw arrived in Canada as a British home child, part of a program that saw thousands of children from Britain sent overseas, often alone, to work on farms.
George's life story is one of resilience, bravery, and service. In the 80 years since the end of the Second World War, George has been a proud member of Canada's veteran community and a dedicated advocate for the recognition of the lived experiences of British home children in this country.
Beardshaw's wartime service and lifelong advocacy have earned him numerous awards and honors, including France's Legion of Honor and the King Charles III Coronation Medal.
He has been out in the community speaking about wartime for many years and at many military events, and also about home children as well. He was very proud to join the Canadian service, and he is both a very proud Canadian and a very proud Englishman as well.
I got so many medals, I don't know which one to choose, Yeah.
And while he may joke about receiving too many awards, those closest to him say his contributions to Canada will continue to be remembered for years to come. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
All right, Rita, thank you. An incredible legacy there for sure. All right, quickly before we go, I have to ask you, did you watch the Stanley Cup final last night?
I did, Tony.
I knew you would.
What a game, a shutout. So
yes.
That was pretty incredible to cap off the series.
I always get a bit swept up in the emotions at the end of it. It's such a, lifetime achievement for so many people, but it also, in my mind, signals the switch to summer. So
Absolutely, Tony. Now that hockey season is over, it's time to ring in summer.
Have a good night.